Separately, I would like to add a couple of words about wheels. I have chosen for myself 3 simple basic ways of making wheels. The first way, my favorite one, as you can see it on 3 baby carriages, is weaving a circle of 3-4 rows depending on size of wheels. This kind of wheels is easy to fix to a baby carriage. A traditional type of wheels is a pancake made of tubes rolled. We know this method very well. This way we start rolling a tube. We continue rolling like this and get wheels like this as a result. And a combined method. A tire made in the technique of twisted spiral weaving. And a pancake inside. I recommend you the 3 methods mentioned, and let me show you this regular method of making a wheel. For such wheels we make a kind of little spider of short tube remainders. 1, 2, 3, and add the 4th tube. It is inconvenient to weave when glue is still wet and the tubes haven't stuck to each other well enough. That's why I make 4 spiders like this and leave them for a while until the glue dries out. If you weave a baby carriage fast enough, you'd better make such work pieces before you start weaving a baby carriage itself. While you're weaving, the work pieces dry out. But if you haven't prepared them beforehand, you have to wait. Meanwhile, you can weave a holder to avoid time wasting. Fix with the help of a clothespin and wait till the glue sticks and dries out. The spiders have gotten drier, so let's weave wheels for a baby carriage, using the technique of regular rope. Try to make the intervals between the beams more or less regular. The first rows are hard enough because the intervals are rather small. The tubes have to be soft. I mean, the basic poles have to be rigid, while the working tubes have to be soft. In this case, your wheels will be neat. In the process of weaving, the wheels twist a little. Now you are gonna see it. I've woven 2 rows. Here is the 3rd one. As a rule, wheels consist of either 3 or 4 rows depending on size of an article. So let's have a look. To avoid lengthening, I believe it will be enough. Now tuck the tips in. So here are 3 rows, it would be the 4th one. So let's tuck in like this. To make the wheel smooth and neat, make sure that there are 3 coils along the whole wheel. You see the way it looks from the opposite side. And here's the last tube. Pull it through 1 or 2 rows. Check 3 coils everywhere, the wheels are smooth and even. Turn around. We've mentioned the curve. You see they will have curved a little toward this side. From the opposite side it looks rather nice. What we do next? Drop some glue, including the points where we have tucked the tubes in, and leave them for a while to let them dry. The only thing left is to cut the tips tightly to avoid stumps sticking out. That's all. The wheels are finished. How to fix wheels to a baby carriage? Firstly, I have tried this way. I have cut rectangles of thin cardboard, bent them, stuck to the bottom with school glue and inserted the wheels. It is the simplest method. But I wanted to try some other ways of fixing as well. This method is rather simple as well, but I don't think it's strong enough. Just small loops like this, fixed with the help of a hot glue gun, and a skewer for barbecue between them. And still I felt like finding a way of fixing stronger. And finally I've thought of the way I'd like to show you, the one I've applied to all of the following baby carriages I've made later. The thing I have to tell you is that my wheels don't drive, they're fixed and play a pure decorative role. For a baby carriage to be drivable, one has to apply an engineering thought and probably more complicated techniques. So how I make fixing I have shown you. I make such small loops on the bottom with the help of my tubes. You can see them from the bottom. I have made 3, so let me show you the way I'm going to make the 4th one. At more or less regular intervals I make such small gaps for the tubes. You can use remainders of tubes for this purpose. And insert the tubes through the gaps. I believe that if a bottom is a bit unsmooth, it is not such a big deal in case of a baby carriage. Neither loops are. From outside they will look rather neat. Actually on the bottom they will be neat enough as well, but it is where we are gonna hide the remainders of tubes. To make sure that the loops are equal, you can insert the skewers like this, because we are going to pull them tight from inside. That's why we have to keep the gaps big enough to be able to insert the axles for our wheels. Here I tuck the tips into the loops in order to drop some school glue afterwards to make them stronger. So I make such loops, then drop some school glue, and when it dries out I cut the tips. So notice, I have dropped glue here and here, then cut the tips after a while, and that's all, the loops are fixed. The next stage. We have made the loops, now let's pass on to the wheel axles. To make axles for our wheels, I take a regular tube and a piece of wire. I have made my first baby carriages with no wire inside, and they do hold as well, but I don't like axles to bend under the weight of a baby carriage if I put a flower inside, for example, in case I use it as a cash support. So here is a wheel I wove yesterday. The glue has dried out, I've cut the tips. Then I insert a piece of wire into the tube and insert it into the center of the wheel. This way we don't spoil the pattern much. On those baby carriages I haven't twisted the axles, but this time I'd like to try. And finally I insert the axles through the loops. Here you can fix it additionally with some glue. Cut the excessive tips. Here you can unite the tubes. And the baby carriage is provided with wheels. In the same way we fix the second pair of wheels. As a result we get a baby carriage like this. So it can be used as a cashipot or a doll carriage. So the main stages are as follows. First of all you weave a bottom, or you can make it easier, make a cardboard bottom. So make a bottom, pass on to walls, then choose a way to weave a roof of a baby carriage, and finally make a holder and wheels. Of course it is a bit more difficult than making a tray or a casket, for example, but the result looks rather nice, decorative and original. I believe the one you are going to present with it is sure to like it. So good luck to you!